Welcome, Brendan McKay. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, my friend. How are you? I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I saw you smile a little bit when my theme song came on. You
Hell
like that?
yeah! How can you not? That gets you up, man. You know.
So, Brendan, welcome to Lending with Purpose. These are conversations that we have with clients and friends, introductions to various forms of information, professionals like yourself, resources that we use, we look for that we never knew existed or wanted to learn more about. And yeah, I really thank you and appreciate you for joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about outreach inside and outside of the lending community.
Yep.
Um, and so before we get started, I was telling you, we were chatting a bit, and I'm like, I don't know what story to tell when Brendan comes on board, or if there's a did you know or anything like that. And so, we were talking a bit about health. And so, Brendan, I don't know if you've heard me tell this story, probably not, but um, when things started to normalize, so to speak, in our business. I mean, you remember 2020, 21, it was super hectic. I mean, like,
Yep.
what do you call it? Like drinking from a fire hose, like it's super busy. So, Brendan, during that time, sir, I forgot that I couldn't breathe. I was having some breathing issues.
Like
So,
anxiety
so
stuff, and
yeah,
yep, I get it.
yeah, I don't know what it was. So all through the pandemic, I was having some breathing issues, and so I couldn't take like this deep breath like through my mouth. It was all nasal, and so you breathe that way anyway. But it was a challenge and a struggle. And so I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm fine. I'm waking up every day, things are fine. But it was sort of a struggle. And so when things kind of normalized, I took some action, and it was just like, all right, we did all this work. We did pretty well financially and such, but Brendan, none of that is any good if,
Yeah. What's it matter? Yep.
yeah, if I'm not here, number one, to enjoy it, but number two, we talk about family and all that stuff if I'm not here for them, and also the clients and the people that we serve. And so I went on a bit of a health journey myself. So I'll never forget. So August 10th, I started doing acupuncture, and I did that for about 25 days straight.
Yep.
Every day for 25 days, I did that. I
Wow.
thought it was going to help me more with my breathing, but what I found out, it was really a good way to focus on my core to get digestion going, right?
Yep.
And then I adopted a diet, a vegetarian diet, and here we are. I feel a lot better. They tell me I look better, and I have so much more energy. And so I'm telling you
That's
this
awesome.
story is because I'm definitely rooting for you. You look good, you sound good. You've been doing some amazing things. We need you around. So definitely, and
Thank you.
folks, when you listen to some of the things that Brendan's been able to do, we definitely need this guy around. So just hang in there and keep working on that health journey. But with that said, Brendan McKay, tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into our conversation.
Yeah, man. And that before I do, it's we were talking about something else before we started, but I can relate completely, and with breathing and everything. And I actually started meditating about halfway through 2020, and it's a practice I still keep up. And I have my first acupuncture appointment tomorrow morning too. So there we go. We're on the same path, man.
Oh yeah, we'll have to talk about that. It was a game changer for me.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm Brendan McKay. I'm the broker owner of McKay Mortgage Company. We're mortgage brokers out of Bethesda, Maryland, and I do a lot of other stuff too. I'm a president of broker advocacy for AIM. I'm on the board of Maryland Mortgage Bankers and Brokers Association. I serve on the legislative committee. I'm on the board of the Bethesda Chamber of Commerce, and I serve on the legislative committee for that too. And honestly, a whole bunch of other smaller organizations too. So I have a problem with telling people no when they ask me to do things is my issue.
Well, Brendan, like I said, for selfish reasons, we really appreciate all that you
Yeah,
do.
man.
So we met through AIM, but we also met because we were added to the board of the
Yep.
Maryland Mortgage Bankers and Brokers Association together. And during that time, Brendan, I found out about, and we've been talking about this lately, but I wanted to touch on it about the state of Maryland.
Yep.
And for mortgage brokers, can you talk to us about some legislation that passed and what that did for our community in regards to our commissions and such?
Yeah. So, and that's how I first got involved with the association because Years ago, there was a broker association and a banker association. And after the recession, they merged together. And to put it short, there was a lot of hard feelings about the way it happened, and I wasn't there for it. But and as a result, there was not a lot of broker involvement with the association, and the broker population shrank as well. But and we were hesitant to join. And there used to be a rule on the books in Maryland where a mortgage broker could not work with the same client twice in a 2-year period. Meaning if you help them buy the house and rates decrease, you could not refinance them for profit for a 2-year period. It had to go somewhere else. This was not applicable to lenders or banks. It's a nonsense rule from the 70s. It was an anti-churning rule that's been made irrelevant by federal legislation. I found out that there was a bill up to change it from an account executive. I found the senator who was sponsoring it, reached out, said, "Hey, here's who I am. I support it." That was like, music to their ears. I had a phone call 15 minutes later, "Hey, will you write a letter of support? Will you come down and testify?" All these things. And I went down to testify on it. And I went in having no expectations. There was a Republican bill in a Democrat controlled state. I testified. I was unbelievably nervous, but it went really well. And lo and behold, it ended up passing. And when I went down there, the only other people testifying were a bunch of bankers from the Mortgage Bankers and Brokers Association. And I said, that's impressive. They are out there fighting for people they represent, even if there's not a lot of activity from those people, because they knew it was the right thing to do. It's a total BS law, right? And if anything, it's bad for them because a lot of them were getting referrals from brokers in these situations, So that showed me they had a lot of integrity. I ended up joining and getting more and more involved. And I found out years later that law, that was their creation. Not only were they testifying for it, but they pushed for it initially and found a representative to sponsor it and write it and all these different things. So not only were they there to support it, but they were behind the whole thing. And I was just like, that's awesome. And I've gotten more and more involved ever since then. And frankly, you and I both and many other Maryland mortgage brokers have made a ton of money in the last 2 years and served a lot of clients in the last 2 years that we wouldn't have been able to. And we have the Maryland Bankers and Brokers Association to thank, and largely a lot of the bankers that were pushing for it. So if any Maryland brokers are listening to this, if you're not a member, you owe it. Stroke the check. It's like $300 a year, But yeah, that's the story. It's pretty cool.
And what at the time, so I can think about obviously the fact that it wasn't fair. Number one, number two, financially, it was disruptive. But what else? Why you, man? Why did you there could have been anybody else and so many other brokers out there that were affected by it. Was it there a lack of information out there that we just didn't know? And what made you take action on it?
I don't know, because it was wrong, and it was something I was felt in a position to speak on. I have opinions on lots of stuff, but I'm not running down to the State House to talk about issues with public schools because I'm not an expert on public schools, but I am an expert on mortgages. And I think that, I don't know, you just kind of have an obligation that if you have enough knowledge in a field to contribute positively to it, I think you have somewhat of an obligation to step up and do it and make it better for yourself and for everybody else. And I don't know, that's the altruistic reason. And I do feel that way. But it's fun, man. It's fun, getting in there and causing real change. The feeling I got, first of all, testifying at all is like a rush. You're in this big important room with a bunch of big important people, and the microphone goes on. It's cool, man. It's cool doing exciting and new stuff like that. And then when it got passed, it was the greatest feeling ever. And I was happy. I knew at the time I probably didn't have that much of an impact on getting it changed. And lo and behold, I found out it was happening whether I was there or not anyways. But it felt cool to be part of the process and contributing to change in a positive way. So I don't know, doing mortgages is fun and I love it, but it's nice to mix it up every once in a while. So that's why I like that stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now let's talk about AIM. So
Yep.
AIM's another association, the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts, right? And
Yep.
so Brendan, you became a broker. I think before me. What year did you like
So April will be
McKay?
5 years. So 2017. Yep.
Okay, okay, and so we became mortgage brokers at Fortis Mortgage back in 2018, and so
Yep.
I um I think that AIM was instrumental in helping us like kind of hit the ground and find resources and such. And so me now looking back to what I think I know about the wholesale model before, I just don't know how people prior to this network came about. I don't know how you all did business and especially efficiently. I don't know how where there was a way of a network to share information and such.
Yep.
And it seems like super difficult, like it was super difficult to do business. And so let's talk about like AIM, like transitioned into that community and
Yep.
became very active in it, and then most recently, as of what maybe about 6 months ago, you're the president of
Yep.
advocacy. Is that right?
President of
Legislation,
Broker Advocacy. Yep.
broker advocacy. Let's talk a little bit about that, or a lot of it, whatever. Let's just
Yeah.
talk
So, and
about it.
I first I want to touch on something you said, like before AIM and the Facebook group it was before Brawl and before a lot of these lenders got a lot better. It was hard to be a broker, 10 years ago. It absolutely was. And it's a reason that a lot of people are not brokers. Right after the crash, it was very difficult to be a broker for compliance reasons, and then it was difficult because the technology wasn't there, and a lot of reasons like that. And a lot of lenders have really stepped up with their technology. There's more money in the channel, so technology has funded the channel. But yeah, absolutely, the communication that AIM provides brokers with each other and being able to have this resource of people that have been in your shoes before that you never had access to before. It's never been easier to be a mortgage broker than it is right now. Well, maybe in 2006 when literally anyone could do it, but you get the idea. Like,
I do.
so no, what you said is absolutely true. So I found it the same way you did. I was on Facebook, saw the group pop up, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And it was built around a concept of historically in our channel, a broker would originate a loan with a wholesale lender, and as soon as that loan closed, that wholesale lender would start soliciting the borrower as if it was theirs immediately afterwards. And there's not a single other financial industry in this country where that would be acceptable. If a financial planner does a mutual fund with T. Rowe Price, and T. Rowe Price is calling that client 6 months later and saying, "Hey, I'll cut your fees in half," like your heads would roll, right? But like it was just standard operating procedure in our channel. And I recognize there's secondary market stuff involved in and things like that, but it is something that brokers should have an option on. And if they want to work with a lender that doesn't do that practice, they should have the ability to. And through that group, it got organized and they pushed back on it. And the industry's been changed forever. There are still lenders that practice that we call it wholetailing, but it's transparent. We know who does it and who doesn't. And there's a group of lenders that have pledged against it. And the channel is better off because of it. And I loved it. All the same reasons you liked it. It was a resource I could get questions answered. I love talking mortgages. I love helping people. I answered a ton of questions in there. Start making friends through it. And I don't know, one thing leads to another. And I like spoke at Fuse in 2019 and started getting more and more involved and doing content for them and things like that and getting to know their leadership. And then last year, let's see, it was like April or May of last year, Katie, I thought I was controlling the trip. I made a trip up to Philadelphia to see everybody, and then she sprung it on me. And I said yes, and here we are.
Of course, you said yes.
I said it's not. It will be a yes, but it's not a yes yet. I have some questions to ask, and I need to think about it. Think about those questions, but yeah.
Affirm maybe. So
Yeah, for
so,
maybe.
so what does that mean though? Like, so broker advocacy, like what does that mean to someone like, I know what it means because I'm in the community, but someone
Yep.
that's transitioning into becoming a broker, or some folks that don't really or aren't as active in AIM, like
Yep.
what does that
It's,
arm do for
it's a
us?
good question, and it's about to get more defined. We actually announced our third president today. We have president growth, membership, and advocacy. Myself. So growth is like looking to grow the channel. Membership is covering our current bases. And then advocacy is out there, fighting for brokers on the legislative channel, but also outreach with other associations and other legs of our industry, basically outside of the direct, mortgage broker channel. So what I spend my most of my time doing, or what I'm other than playing defense, is out there looking to get AIM a presence in the legislative channel and in government affairs. Right now, our main focus with that is just getting them to know who we are. Frankly, AIM is a force within our industry, but Washington doesn't know who we are yet. And before we start asking them for things, we need to get to know them, and they need to find out who we are. You don't meet somebody, for the first time at a party and immediately start asking them to do things for you, but once you get to know them a little bit better and they know that you're legit, and when you're asking for things or weighing in on topics, you have a legitimate opinion, they're going to take you seriously and possibly, grant the things that you're requesting. So right now, we're just looking to get word on the street. We have a couple legislative initiatives that we're pushing. And then just getting on neutral ground with other associations within our industry and start partnering with, start looking to partner with them on certain things, and just kind of growing things that way. Long term, my long term goal is to put the broker channel in a position that we are never in the same spot that we were in 2008 ever again. We're never caught holding the bag when shit hits the fan, basically, and all these regulations come out that are unfairly, prejudiced against brokers. I want us to have a seat at the table so that we're not in that situation anymore. We're frankly a very long way from that. But that's where we're going, one step at a time.
Awesome. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, I had a couple more things on that piece, right? So you touched on important issues, and specifically, it made a lot of sense, and it makes a lot of sense to build a relationship, right? And you start to build relationships before you need them.
Yep.
Because as you mentioned, you don't go to a party and you start to ask people to do things for you. You build that relationship first, and then when things arise, we kind of know who's good at what, and then that's where that trust builds in.
Yep.
Because I don't want to put my reputation on the line to try to help someone that I know is not the right person or the right organization.
Telling me the whole story. Yeah, all that. Yep.
Yeah. And so what are some other important issues? I heard you loud and clear about like 2008 never happening again. I don't want that to happen either. I went through that on the retail side and could only imagine what it would feel like to go through something like that as a self-employed mortgage broker. But like, what are some of the other, like, if you had to pick like 1 to 3 key issues that you think we should be focused on? Do you have that?
Yeah, focused on is tough because some of these I think are important, but we're not in a position to do anything about it right now. So like some of them, it's like, we hear you, but like, here's why we can't do anything. The first thing I'll say though, is that once we do get that voice, it will be an easy message to get across, because what is good for the broker is good for the consumer 95 times out of 100. And that's what these politicians care about at the end of the day, as they should. We're their constituents, but the consumer, the homeowner is their constituents. And if it's usually what we're asking for, it lines up with them as well. And we're also generally going to be asking for just equal, being on the same playing field. We're not going to ask for more. We're not going to ask for less. We're going to ask for like, for example, the APR calculation. APR calculation is spelled out within TRID, how it's done. Calculation is done differently for brokers than it is for banks and lenders. That is nonsense. APR is supposed to be a universal calculation to be able to transparently show a borrower be able to shop one loan to another, one loan option to another, and look at one number and have a good idea if one is more expensive than the other. Because of the way that is defined for brokers versus banks and lenders, it fails in that. That's a baseline failure of what should be a standardized term that should be out there to help consumers. That needs to be fixed. And something that's extremely important to our membership is preferred lenders within builders. with it, new home construction builders. It is steering, plain and simple. I'm sure everyone listening knows what I'm talking about. That someone goes to buy a new construction home, they are not required to use the builder's lender, but they're given $5,000 to $10,000 in closing costs to do it, and the builder's lender's terms are not always necessarily competitive. That is a situation that's not great. That's a tough one to fight, though. Right now, the Builders Association is incredibly strong. And frankly, our country needs these home builders very, very much right now. They've never had more leverage than they do right now. But that's an important issue that we're going to look to tackle at some point in the future. That definitely negatively impacts brokers, because most of these lenders are just subsidiaries of the builder, which is not going to be a broker. And then furthermore, it's bad for the consumer. They're getting a worse deal because of it. So a pretty easy message to get across. But those are some of the, longer picture stuff we're looking at right now, though. Like I said, we're just trying to meet everybody, get them to know us, and trust us, because they should, but and then get some easy wins on the board, easy wins on the board, and make impact where we can.
It's awesome. It's the third time I heard someone in the past 2 weeks say get a win, get one early on, get small wins. So Brendan, we could talk for forever. I'm not going to hold you much longer because, again, like I said, we need you out there fighting for us. But I don't know if you can even answer this question either. But I'm going to ask. And it's about like getting involved in time, right? I know the easy answer is probably you just make time to do it. But like, where do people find time to be involved as someone like yourself, or just to even get started, number one? And then number two, like who are, like, why is it important for us to get involved as well?
Yep. So the first part, yeah, you're right. Like you make time for what's important. But that's an easy thing to say. The first thing I before I answer your question is like, you don't have to be as involved as I am to help. Every bit helps, like if everybody just does a little here and a little there, it would make a much larger difference than like me doing as much as I do. That's what 1,000 people spent an hour a week, like helping make it better for everybody else. It's an incredibly powerful amount of time and resources that would be put into it. So that would be my encouragement to you. Just start small, and you can stay small too. Everybody has a lot of stuff going on in their lives. I'm never going to begrudge anybody for not getting involved enough, or even not getting involved, to be honest with you. Like, I get it, but don't ask for stuff if you're not involved. But my best advice is get more organized. Get more organized. I think brokers in general are not as organized as they should be. I know most of you don't keep calendars. You need to be keeping calendars. Like, schedule more of your appointments. Not everything's urgent. If a person can wait, they're not out trying to make an offer on a house right that second. They just want to get pre-approved sometime in the next 2 months. Schedule the call. You can have it 2 days later, and it's totally fine. And it just keeps you more organized. To if you're spending your time more efficiently, you have more time to do other stuff. You're not wasting as much time. So it gives you time to do that. And frankly, it also keeps you more available to respond to fires when they do happen, because you're not just chasing, oh my God, I need to play phone tag with this person all day long and stuff like that. So getting more organized is the easiest step with it. What was the second part of your question?
Oh yeah, why should we do it? Like, why should we be involved?
It's important, man. Like, if you take any pride in what you do, and you want to make it better, then you should do it. If you don't give a shit, then I don't know. I think that sucks, but like, whatever, do you too then. But like, if you take pride in what you do, and you want to leave it a better industry than you came into it, then help out a little bit. And if you want to think of it, I mean, once again, that's the altruistic answer, but if you want to think about it selfishly, if you help make things better and everyone else has that attitude, it's going to be better for you too. And frankly, I found if you're just out there helping without expectations, you're going to get rewarded for it. It's hard to draw a straight line from A to B on this kind of stuff. But it absolutely happens. And like, I didn't go into it for this reason. I just like helping out. And I spent a lot of time helping out other brokers and stuff. And one of the biggest, biggest sources of business for me is referrals from other brokers. And I'm fine if that went away tomorrow. And I'm not saying go into it for those reasons, because if you do, people are going to see through it and you're going to walk away disappointed. But like, if you're just out there helping, man, like, you can call it karma or just human nature. If you're out doing it, it's psychologically proven. If you are actively doing favors for people, I mean, do it out of the kindness of your heart, but they're going to feel indebted to you, and they're going to be looking out to be able to help you back. Maybe not everyone. Some people will just say thanks, see you later. But by and large, most people are good people, and they want to help the people that are helping them. So it ends up working out for you in the long run. You can't go into it with that attitude, because you got to be authentic. But it does work out, both for the community and for yourself.
Yeah, that's an amazing answer. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Give
man.
with no expectations. That was my favorite thing that I heard you say. The
Yep.
universe always pays you back, and I would encourage everyone, just don't keep score.
Yep.
Like,
Do not
Brendan.
keep score.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
not keep score.
Right.
No,
Yeah, don't
no.
don't don't keep score. So just something very basic, like maybe you'll give me, two deals, right? Two loans in a year, and maybe they add up to $400,000. But then maybe I meet someone that I want to refer to you in a state that I'm not licensed, and they're buying $1 million house or a $1.5 million house. Now, which one is more valuable than the other,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like, just something like that. And so, I just, again, I think if we go into it with no expectations, what you do is you end up setting yourself up at some point to receive when it's your time to receive, because the
No,
universe will
absolutely.
pay
And
you
like,
back.
and also don't keep score, because it's never gonna be even. Relationships don't work that way. Now, that being said, you don't need to keep score to know when you are in a relationship that is entirely one-sided and all you do is give, 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 and all they're doing is asking, asking, asking. You don't have to keep score to know when you're in a relationship like that, and that's a toxic relationship and you need to cut it off, right? Like, so you don't need to keep score to avoid those sorts of situations. But if you're looking for relationships to be 50-50 at all times, like, you can keep score all you want. You're going to be disappointed by the results. So like, don't even bother with it. And it's not the way you should look at relationships. They should be mutually beneficial, but who's winning and who's losing at any given time is honestly irrelevant, and not the way to look at any healthy long-term relationship ever, on anything, marriage, business, anything. So that's how I feel about that.
Awesome. So listen, Brendan, how do we connect with you? Number one, and then secondly, how can we help you? Like, is there something we can do to help you specifically in your, maybe your business, your practice, any of the associations that you're affiliated with? But
Yeah,
so
I
number
mean,
one, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I'm easy to find. Google Brendan McKay Mortgage. You'll find our website. A million ways to contact me. My email is bmckay at mckmtg.com or bmckay at aimgroup.com. But I'm not tough to find. You can find me on Facebook pretty easily. And then, yeah, if you like, how you can help me is get involved. Like, just get involved and help us make this thing better. Get involved with AIM if you're a mortgage broker. Get involved in Maryland Maryland Mortgage Bankers and Brokers Association if you're a Maryland originator. If you're in Bethesda, get involved in that, or get involved in whatever your local community is, man. Like, if you're a mortgage banker listening to this in Nebraska, I highly encourage you to get involved in your local chamber of commerce. Those groups need, community leaders. They need business owners out there helping make the community better. So whatever you're passionate about or wherever you're at, get involved and make your community better. And make the world a better place. That's baby, like, I don't know.
Cool. You're not asking for a lot. Um,
No.
so we're gonna close out. I want to be a good steward of your time. So Brendan, you think about this question? I used to pop it on people, and
No,
it
and you
really
shouldn't. So I'm
surprised
glad you don't, because
me. Earlier on, this is 2 years running, right? And early on, I'm just like, they should be able to answer this question, and so I would just pop this on as a surprise, and yeah, and then sometimes it just wouldn't go so well, and I felt badly because, it just, yeah, and so now I give folks advance notice. So Brendan, you get one person, one question, right? Who would it be, and what would you ask?
yeah, and I was like, ooh, that's a good question. And I thought about it, and I'm not a history buff. I wish I knew more about history, but like, I feel like that's a question a history buff could answer very, very easily, right? So I thought about it, and I actually came up with a question before I figured out who I would ask it to. And it's basically like as I'm doing more and more stuff, that there is more pressure on me from different directions and stuff, and it's really important to me to maintain my integrity and my passion and doing what's right, even when there's pressure not to. And the two, so like, how do you maintain your faith in what you believe in the face of serious opposition? And the two best people I could come, I'm giving two,
That's
were
fine.
Rosa Parks and John F. Kennedy, for the work he did, in the Civil Rights Act, and that they seem to be doing very unpopular things, with a lot of pressure and a lot of personal reasons not to do those things. That things would be better for them if they didn't, but they did it anyways. And I don't know, like, that's just incredibly impressive to me. And I'd love to hear about their fortitude, basically.
Would you invite me? I'd love to be there
Hell yeah,
to,
man!
to,
You know,
to
hell
hear
yeah,
the
everybody,
answer too.
everybody.
Yeah.
I'd have them speak on stage at Fuse if it was possible, man.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it. That's a great duo there, and a pretty amazing question. I'm sure you get some awesome feedback. No, thank you for that. Thanks for putting thought into it as well.
Yep. No, I don't know what I would have said if you popped it on me on the last minute, but yeah,
Uh,
I would have stammered through it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I had someone the one that's very funny. I don't have a favorite, but one that been super funny is there was a young lady. She said I would ask my dog um why he's barking at all these UPS people that are coming. They're bringing treats for him, and they're bringing household goods for our family, and all does is bark at them. And I just want to know what he's thinking while he's barking
Yeah,
at the
I mean, I'd like
delivery.
to know. That's a less deep question, but a fair one. I'd like to know the same thing from my dog. So yeah, there you go.
Well, as I say every week, there'd be such a shame for me to have relationships and contacts like Brendan and not share them with the world, and vice versa. And so, if there's anything that I or we can do to help you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Everyone just continue to remain as safe and as healthy as you possibly can. And Brendan, thank you for showing up today and giving us your time. We really appreciate everything that you do. And yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate
No,
it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Shawn, and I appreciate everything you do too, man. Keep fighting the good fight.
All right, thanks. So I'm gonna close out, Brendan. I'll ask you to stay on with me for like 30 more
Yeah,
seconds, and
buddy.
we're out of here.
All
Take
right.
care, everyone. See you next week.
See y'all.